Hello again, friends. Um, I gotta put videos out. I have to. I have a YouTube channel. Why don't I make videos anymore? Um, I just wanna update most of you who will watch this if you're interested. Probably you're not, but if you are, I uh, I've made previous videos where I discussed my progress in life, like professionally, educationally. So when I finished my master's degree at St. Cloud State, I studied strategic media communications. I decided, I was at that time thinking about television, like becoming an anchor, news reporter, for a small market, whatever, I applied and I didn't get anywhere. Um, and that was partly because even though I came to St. Cloud State where they had the university channel UTVS, I really enjoyed that experience. But unfortunately, I was there as a master's student, not as a bachelor. I had already finished my bachelor's at UC Davis. I studied philosophy and religious studies. So when I came to Minnesota, I knew I was gonna come to Minnesota to St. Cloud to get my master's. Make sure it's worthwhile, worth my time, to advance my career and gain some experience in journalism. Unfortunately, at UC Davis, uh, I didn't go to UC Davis with the idea of journalism. So I went to UC Davis with the idea of I wanted to become a computer science guy, a programmer. And that didn't go well. So I decided, my favorite subject is actually philosophy. Uh, so I did philosophy, but then I was making YouTube videos, as some of you might remember. I made a lot of YouTube videos on campus. I went up to students. Those were great days. Interviewed students and sort of on the spot with my camera, and got some interesting responses, which I thought made for a great video for YouTube. You might wonder, did I do it for fame and money and recognition? I would say to some extent I was motivated by egocentric, ideas. But I told myself, if I'm gonna be famous, if I'm gonna be recognizable by people in the society, in the world, why not do it with a great purpose? So I decided I'm a Baha'i. I love Baha'u'llah. I love the Baha'i faith, as some of you know. Those who don't know Baha'i faith, it's a religion about that teaches the oneness of humankind, the oneness of God, and the oneness of religion. And so it's a religion that will become recognized one day by the world as the truth that all the previous religions and faiths are based on. It's a part of the same process. Although there are different names and different ideas out there, the truth is one. So I decided, okay, I'm gonna take this Baha'i teachings that I love so much, and I'm gonna go around and interview students on campus at UC Davis. It wasn't Baha'i centered, but I would say the meaningful and elevated conversations are encouraged by the Baha'i faith. That we should elevate the way we think, elevate our words and vocabulary, elevate our thoughts, have high thoughts. And I made a video about high thoughts before, and so I decided, if my channel ever becomes popular, like at that time I was dreaming I was gonna get millions of subscribers, but I didn't. It doesn't matter. Those days are behind us. So I was like, if my channel is gonna become famous, why not make it famous because of the Baha'i faith? Why not make it famous where it'll help people to learn more about the Baha'i teachings, which I think the world needs so much, so much. And so every opportunity I got, sort of later on, and the subsequent I decided, I want to interview, somewhat renowned people like Steve Sorowitz, who was the executive producer of the documentary about the Bob, and Dr. Joy DeGruy, who is an author and professor of psychology. And I really enjoyed my interview with both of them, especially Dr. Joy DeGruy. I thought that video did well because of the pertinent subject of prejudice and the eradication of racism and so many things that divide us. So, yeah, and now and then pandemic came. The COVID pandemic happened, and that really slowed down Baha'i conferences. I used to love to go to Baha'i conferences and interview, renowned authors, speakers, people who have knowledge, who have learned experience. And so, and I don't want to do Zoom interviews. That's so boring. Anything digital sucks to me. I want to be out there. I want to meet people face to face. I want to breathe your breath, and I want you to breathe mine, and I want us to merge and connect and converse. That's what I want. That's why I've slowed down on my videos. And Minnesota gets cold, and you get lazy when it comes to making videos. It's not like California, UC Davis, where I was around a lot of young people. That motivated me to just go up to them and be like, hey, do you believe in God or something? Now, yeah, so in my experience, I went from journalism. What happened was I graduated, and then I went into newspaper journalism for a few years. And that was a good experience. I learned a lot about writing and editing and sort of the angle of journalistic angle and ethics and all of that. Really interesting. I still do like it. But then I got a job. I decided to apply a few months back, not too long ago, to go into college campus. I applied to a college campus. I'm in Austin, Minnesota now. So I went from first coming to Minnesota, I went to St. Cloud, then I graduated after 2 years. Then I moved to Litchfield for my first job. Then I graduated. Then what I'm trying to say is I came to St. Cloud. I graduated after 2 years with my master's. Then I got my first job in Litchfield, and I was there for almost a year. I pretty much almost finished it when the COVID-19 happened. And then I went back to California. You can imagine, I drove back. Because I drove to Minnesota and I drove back during the pandemic. Whereas prior years, during that 2-year period, I flew to California to visit my family. But this time I drove back, I packed everything, I left. And then I didn't come back after about 5 months. I tried to get a job in California so I could be close to my mom and siblings and family. But I didn't get a job. I got some interviews that I thought were, going well, but they didn't. So I flew back. I drove back to Minnesota because I got a job in Cambridge, and I was working in Cambridge newspaper for almost a year. But I decided, I was done with journalism. It wasn't gonna get me anywhere. It's slow. I don't want to be slow. I wasn't making a lot, but I learned a lot. I did a lot of good. I did a lot of great in reporting. And then I was like, okay, now it's time to move on, get a job with the government, state job, So I applied, interviewed, and then some didn't go well, but finally I got a job now where I am now. It's in Austin, Minnesota, and I work as an interactive media coordinator here, where I basically promote the college. I work in the communications department, communications and marketing. So I make a lot of videos. It's still similar to what I did back at UC Davis for myself, and then as a journalist, story writing and reporting and photography, a little bit of videography for journalism, but not much in the newspaper. And then now I make a lot of videos for the Riverland Community College. It's been fun. Currently, I'm in the process of making an advertisement that we might run on television. So I'm looking forward to how that's going to go. I've already started the process. I have some footage that I'm using. I work closely with the director of communications, and I have a team, a web developer, and a graphic designer. So all of us, work very well together. There's a lot. One day from another, it's so different. And you never know what's going to happen. You're working on something and then it piles up and it piles up. And then you're like, I'm not done with this yet, But you just got to breathe, be relaxed, be calm. You tell yourself you're going to get it done. And yeah. So I'm happy. I'm happy with my life. I live here in an kind of like it's a duplex. Much happier than Cambridge. Cambridge wasn't really great toward the end. I don't want to get into it, but it was not a positive environment at my job. And so I'm happy before it got worse. My nerves were really wrecked, before it got worse, with personality issues and coworkers and all. I communicate with people, if I have an issue with you, I will let you know. It's very hard when you're working with someone and there's a problem between you. It's very hard, like, not to talk about it, or it's very hard to talk about it. Like, how are you going to address it? It's annoying, especially if people are not open-minded. If you talk about it, they're not going to listen, or they're not going to listen, whatever. So I decided, I'm just going to be a little indirect about it. I knew I was leaving. So I was just like, God, please help me get another job so I can get out of here. So it happened. I got out right about the same time I was done. The environment wasn't educational. I wasn't learning anything really. Salary was pretty bad because of pandemic. And I would say workload was overwhelming for one guy. It was like working in the morning and then taking the afternoon off because you have to go to a meeting at night and that meeting sometimes went to 2 to 3 hours. So, and then you had like 9 of those a month. That's crazy, So yeah, it started off slow with the meetings, but then toward the end, I just got packed with meetings. And I was like, I want to have an evening to myself. I want to go home at 4, knowing that I've done my 8 hours. I want to have the rest of the later afternoon and evening to myself. I want to go home. If I want to watch a movie, I want to watch a movie, cook for myself, and clean the house, go grocery shopping, The lifestyle I had before, it was like barely any breathing room to do your own thing. But anyway, everything is an experience. It's all about learning about yourself, about what you can handle and what you can't, and knowing who you are and what you want to do as your job and what kind of environment you want to be in, and work for that. It's good to have ups and downs in your life, to know yourself better. That's what my experience has been. So at this point in my life, I'm very happy. I know at my current job, I know anything is possible, but I'll be here for about 5 years, maybe 10. Most of the people who work at the college have been there for 20 years. So I have to I have to level with that. Thanks for listening. I'm gonna consider posting this video. I have to edit it somewhat, but thanks for watching. And this is my updated life. I might do more videos like this. And thanks again. So have a good day.